Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the feat Cohort of Chaos.
Mahaha, lighting, fire, pixies, I don't know, chaos. This is a what?
None of those.
What do you mean? Oh, I mean, rules written none of those. Sure. This is a prereq fourth level. You have to have taken the Sign on the Outer Planes feat, which you can get through two backgrounds. And if you get them through backgrounds, they're like, but like it's kind of free, so whatever. But then you get this feat, which I'm a big fan of. It's very cute. I think it does the chaos well. So it says you channel cosmic forces of chaos and gain these benefits. You get an ability score increase, so you increase any ability score of your choice by 1. Oh boy, that's good. That just means you can have any odd score now all of a sudden, and even if it matters, you're really, really happy. If you're going from like a 17 to 18 dex on a rogue, perfect. You got nothing else you could possibly ask for out of this feat, but you want just something, and you get more than something here. You get Chaotic Flare, which is a sweet ability. So when you roll a 1 or a 20 on an attack roll or a saving throw, I believe this is after you check advantage. So it's the result of advantage, disadvantage. Will needs to be the 1 or the 20. When you roll a 1 or 20 on an attack roll or saving throw, the magic of chaos flows through you. Roll a d4 and consult the chaotic flares table to determine what happens. A flare lasts until the end of your next turn, and a new flare can't occur until after the first flare ends. You get 4 options as you roll in d4. You get Battle Flare, a creature of your choice that you can see is filled with Reckless Fury. It has advantage on attack rolls and disadvantage on ability checks. And again, the duration of all these is until the end of your next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You last until the end of your next turn. Yeah. Number 2 is Disruption Field. So waves of energy ripple around you. Every creature that starts its turn within 5 feet of you, or that moves into the area for the first time on its turn, takes a d8 force damage, which is weird, but it's free damage and there's no save involved. When you move, 3 is Unbound. When you move, you can use some or all of your walking speed to teleport yourself once, along with any equipment you're wearing or carrying, up to the distance used to an unoccupied space you can see. That's pretty spicy. Instead of moving, you teleport. Cute. And then finally, you get Wailing Winds swirl in a 15-foot radius sphere centered on you. You and any other creatures that in that area have a disadvantage on Wisdom saving throws. These all are varied, to say the least. Bob, what's your initial read?
I'm unimpressed. I mean, all right. You get 4 outcomes here. I think Battle Flare is the only one that really has any text in most situations. I mean, all right, beneficial text anyway. All right, so yeah, you can give somebody advantage on attack rolls. Great. Disruption field. I mean, if you're in a nest of enemies, cool. I think more often than not, or just as often, you're going to be hurting your friends.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
So I will
Not
say,
ideal though.
well,
Well, let me wrap these up. All right. Unbound. All right, this one, it seems cool at first glance, but all right. You can use some or all of your walking speed to teleport yourself once, along with any equipment, to distance up to the distance used to an unoccupied space that you can see. 9 times out of 10, or you could just walk.
Sure.
I mean, that one, yeah. All right, maybe you could cross a ravine or go up a ledge or something, but I mean, more often than not, how often is this going to come up when you want it? And
That's definitely one of the tricky parts about this feat.
Yeah. And then the last one, Wailing Winds, strictly disadvantage, or unless you're in a nest of enemies.
I think what you touched on is that this needs to be on a very specific kind of character. Because if you're, let's say, on a rogue, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing a ranged rogue in particular, one of these has text, and the rest
Yep.
of them are kind of like, I don't really care. Unbound is fine, but Disruption Field and Wailing Winds need to be usable on your character for this to be something you ever consider taking, right? I think every single time you get an opportunity to roll with Cohort of Chaos, you want it to matter. So that puts it in a camp of you want to make sure, no matter what the outcome is, you have a way that you can benefit from it.
Yeah.
You can always benefit from Battle Flare. That one's a gimme. You just get that for free. you'll always be happy with hit rolling Battle Flare. Unbound, I also think you can be pretty happy with a lot of the time because it's a free disengage that you're using your movement for just to be somewhere else. So this is oftentimes in the thick of things going to add a really odd moment where you can go, do I want to keep wailing on these things or do I want to hit somebody different? This is an opportunity to chaotically hit somebody different without any attacks opportunity, without any other conditions around that movement. That's where I think it's probably
going to
have
do you
value.
want that even? Like, if
Not that often.
If you're wailing on somebody, you chose to go wail on him. Look, yeah.
If we're looking at
want to
front-to-back
finish him
fights,
off before going somewhere else.
if we're looking at front-to-back fights and we're dealing with thick, chunky frontliners, and you're something like a barbarian or a fighter, oftentimes it would behoove you to be able to get behind them, to get to a spellcaster, to lay into it. This is an opportunity to do that sometimes. Yeah. It's also sometimes an opportunity to disengage. The variance there makes it a lot worse. This is definitely, I think Unbound is hurt the most by it not being something you could turn on, right? The fact that you don't get to decide when Unbound happens means there'll be few windows where that opportunity feels very good. That being said, when that opportunity does arrive and Unbound occurs and you do teleport somewhere meaningful, it'll feel so freaking cool. It's just, most of the time you'll be like, it's just the stone giant. We've been just killing the stone giant. I guess I'll teleport behind the stone giant and it doesn't matter at all, right? You're right that a lot of encounters do not care about Unbound. That being said, it's still one that you will never it won't ever be actively detrimental, which is meaningful.
Yeah.
I think Disruption Field is honestly the biggest bummer to me out of them all, just because it doesn't scale. If that thing scaled with proficiency bonus, I'd be all about it, but it sure doesn't. It sure is always a D8, so past 6th level, you're like, wow, that's just pointless. It just is. D8 damage around you for a turn? Nope, I don't want it. Thanks. Pass. The other one,
if it happens, though, fine.
D8. It's not great.
Fine.
It's free damage-ish, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're, again, in the low tiers, that'll damage will feel good, but if the thing you're fighting is 300 hit points, you do not give a crap, right? But you're just like, oh, good. 4 more damage marked on it. Moving on. The DM's like, I can't believe you made me add that to the running total of their HP count. The final option, Wailing Winds, I think, is the most interesting because making it matter is hard. But disadvantage on wisdom saving throws, no save attached to that whatsoever, is backbreaking against specific saber dies. Some groups,
that's true. If
you have someone with chaotic flares, all of a sudden everyone wants access to at least one whiz saber die. Because that moment where it pops up against a creature where that's at 3/4 HP, they all of a sudden have disadvantage on wisdom saving there and go, oh, shields down, get them. You throw a good saber die on them, and now that person's screwed, right? This also wants to go on a character that can proc that themselves, which makes Paladin a really appealing home for this, I think. I think this feat to me screams you need to be able to use all of them yourself effectively. So things like Paladin that have built-in casting to take advantage of the wisdom saving throws, but also can have abilities, things like Channel Divinities that can proc wisdom saving throws, all will make Wailing Winds quite a bit better. Because it's a 50-foot radius around you too, you can make AoE whiz saves really, really good. And while none jump to mind, as not a particularly common thing to occur as an area effect wisdom saving throw, there will be effects in this game that are juiced up to 11 because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all 8 of the enemies you're fighting have disadvantage on their wisdom saving throws. And yeah, sure, you're in that too, but you're probably a paladin because it's plus 12 your whiz save. So what do you care? I think it's really interesting.
Probably a paladin. Now that you've talked me up on this, I'm liking it for fighters and barbarians as well.
Yeah. You really want to have the supporting cast, or again, be like an Eldritch Knight, or if there are any subclass features that can make decent wisdom saves, you'll probably be a little bit more interested in this. I think if you can't get Wailing Winds to work, you are going to not want to be using this option at all, because it will always be a dud and feel terrible. And more often, just be like, oh, now the enemy caster kills me because I auto-failed or I have disadvantage on my wisdom save, right? So you do want to make sure, I don't
know, you just, if that happens, you shout to your caster friend, hey, everybody around me has got wisdom save fails or a disadvantage, but I've got a ton of hit points, so hit me with whatever.
Sure. I still think because of how consistent this is already, right? This is already something that isn't necessarily going to happen whenever you expect. You want ways to make sure the modes matter, And if you can't guarantee your casters will want to or have the ability to make their wisdom saving throw effect whenever this randomly occurs, right? If their only wisdom save is stable to a second level spell and they use all 3 of their spell slots,
Excuse me.
all of a sudden this just doesn't have text on 4 anymore. That's the only way you're using Wailing Winds, like it's off their wisdom saving throws. So I do think it's very important, if you want to consider this option, find a way to get your own wisdom saving throw on your character sheet that you can pair with this.
Yeah. Well, but still, that's 1/4 of the options. That. Excuse me. What's
Very
wrong with
sensitive.
me? All right, that's 1/4 of the options on a like 1 out of 10 chance on a roll. That, yeah, I'll take those odds.
Sure. I also think it might be it's worthwhile noting this desperately wants to be on multi-attack characters. You really need to be rolling lots of dice because it's all upside for you, right? You really want to be rolling as many dice as you possibly can to get the highest likelihood of this proccing over and over again, which means crit fishing builds, while they already have a billion feats they already want. This is a cute little thing that you could consider putting on there, just because it takes the result of a 20 and juices it even further, which is fun. I like
And
that.
it takes a little bit of sting out of a 1.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be on characters that aren't getting advantage already, right? Like if you don't have access to frequent advantage, ones don't feel nearly as bad anymore whenever you just suddenly put it down a disruption field randomly, or suddenly get your teleports get out of business whenever something went horribly wrong, right? That's kind of cute. Oh crap, I crit failed with my 1 attack against this thing. I'm at 5. I'm gone. Thanks, Unbound. Saved my life. That's really cute, right? Now,
Sure.
is it feat good? No. No. Don't get me wrong. This is not something that like is powerful. I think this is really fun. I really dig this kind of chaos. I think it's handled in a way that isn't like there aren't going to be tables that literally end like for like a wild magic sorcerer can end a table with a fireball cast on self, right? This is a little bit of chaos that you're going to see almost every single fight. And the moment extra attacks on the table, you will see this every fight. You will see a lot of outcomes that are going to be 1s, that are going to be 20s, just based off 3-4 attacks getting made at once. I think Monk is a really cute place for this. Let me check Stunning Strike. If Stunning Strike is a whiz save, that'd be hilarious with Wailing Winds. But like, the more dice you can roll every round means encounters, the likelihood of you getting one of these effects just skyrockets. So you really want to be making sure you're making a lot of attack rolls. So again, it may sound like it's allowed to go on any character sheet, and the different modes may seem like they synergize with specific things better than others. But like a caster might care about the wisdom save more than other things. The reality of it is you need to care about all 4 modes to get this to matter on your character sheet, and there just aren't tons of characters that fit that criteria, but there are enough that I think you could have a lot of fun with it, with some like creative builds.
Yeah, I went into this wanting to like it. Wasn't impressed initially, but you turned me around, Sam. Thank you for that.
Happy to help. It's still definitely never ever going to be worth 2 feats. I can tell you that much. You will, no amount of fun is worth I take a bad feat and then I take this feat, which is also kind of a bad feat. So keep that in mind.
Well, I mean, unless you are doing the crit fishing thing, which I've heard again and again, you probably shouldn't, but it's something I might try one of these days.
If your goal is to just get as advantage on main attack rolls and crit as much as possible, you are really tied to what your feats are taking. Like you
Oh, yeah,
definitely, your build is pretty locked in there, and it's almost always something like Champ Fighter or Hexblade. Hexblade's kind of cute with it because that makes the wisdom saves a little bit more interesting, but like the feat cost goes up quite a bit if you're crit fishing. So that's a consideration.
This could fit in there somewhere.
Yeah, notably, I just checked Monk's Stunning Strike as a con save, which is a bummer.
Bummer.
So it doesn't really work as well with Monks as I'd like it to, but hey, Monks don't get much. And this, I guess, is on that list.
All right, so Cohort of Chaos. What do you think?
Probably a 2. Very fun. I would build this on a lot of character sheets. It's not going to be good, but like the variance is going to be really fun for a lot of people. I think it's going to pop up in most encounters, and it popping up in most encounters is going to make it pretty fun. Again, that's going to be popping up in most encounters past 5th level. If you don't have extra tech, this isn't going to happen all that often. But like if you get it at 4, you're going to immediately turn to 5, and then all of a sudden you're going to start seeing this flip a lot more. And that's going to be, I think it's going to be a really great time to play with. And the fact that you get the ability score bump too to get your 18 in strength whenever you do it, like, yeah, I see that being an entirely reasonable place to be. It's not going to be powerful, but it could be really fun.
Yeah, if this was a feat by itself, I might bump it up to a 3. But yeah, since it costs the Scion of the Outer Planes as a prerequisite, I'll agree with your 2. All right, still, yeah, a lot of fun to be had here. Cohort of Chaos. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.